Very good. We're just having a little trial. Anyway, so welcome everybody to the first trial webinar. Hopefully it's the last trial webinar that we're organizing for Gentlemen Driving. My name is Jonathan Syrett, and I'm one of the founder members of Driving Mallorca, which, as you know, has been converted into Gentlemen Driving quite recently. And all of that is actually thanks to the efforts of obviously all of us, but in particular Peter Redrin, who is the president of Gentlemen Driving, and he's also the CEO of the company, the Spanish CL company. So Peter, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. And I have a few questions for you. Please tell us, how did you decide that we should generate or change Gentlemen Driving from Driving Mallorca?
Well, I think the story goes like this. I found myself in a very peculiar situation last year. Out of health reasons, I had to sell my company group that I was working to build in many countries around the world for 11 years. So suddenly in November last year, I found myself 51 years old as a pensioner, not allowed to work for my doctors. And I said to my wife, if I don't do anything, I'm going to go crazy. So I decided to put all my energy into my interest of cars, sports cars and racing. And bought myself a couple of cars, opened a garage for myself, which I put some effort into making into a nice, relaxing space for myself and for my cars. And I decided to join a few car clubs. Actually, I joined the Porsche club here in Mallorca. I joined the classical car club, and then I also joined the Driving Mallorca, which was a 6-year-old club at that time. I found something very special in Driving Mallorca. A bunch of really, really interesting and nice and friendly guys who had a very strong bond of camaraderie and helping each other and being very, very strong friend connections between each other, and sharing the love of cars and to not only maybe to talk about cars and to fix them up, but to drive them as fast as possible as well. And I really liked the spirit of the people I met in Driving Mallorca. Mm-hmm. And Jonathan and a few other of the founding partners, the founding members of the club, asked me if I could maybe help them to activate the club a little bit more, make more events, and maybe make it a little bit larger as well. And well, I have a lot of experience of starting and developing clubs. It's been my business for many years now. So I said, sure, give me a few weeks and I'll come up with an idea. And that's how it started.
Great. That's excellent, Peter. And we're very appreciative of that, obviously. So what is this concept of a club ambassador? What is a club ambassador supposed to be doing?
Well, as you can imagine, Jonathan, I mean, for the moment, we are a club which has been predominantly been existing in Mallorca, Spain. January, we started to enroll members and people to engage with the club in the mainland Spain. And from February and into this coronavirus lockdown period, we decided to invite people all over Europe, and actually even people in America and a little bit everywhere, people who share the same love of cars as we do and have the same petrol head screwed on. And yeah, so and of course, if you're going to make a lot of local events in many places around Europe and around the world, it have to be some local people helping out. And that is what an ambassador is. It's a member of the club that for some reason think it's a good idea to engage a little bit more than just being a passive member, going to the events and having a good time. Somebody who would like to participate a little bit more. And what an ambassador is helping out with is actually two things. Which for the ambassadors is quite simple. I mean, many of them have been around in the car community for a long time where they live and in the country they live in. So they know a lot of people, and they've been many times arranging events and meetups and things before. So So since we have with the club a plan to have one monthly meetup, one monthly weekend drive to a nice restaurant and have lunch together, try to find a track day arrangement to go to every month, and if possible some close road rallying as well to invite the local members in the area. Then of course we need somebody with local knowledge who is helping out, so we don't we who are working in the head office organizing all these things and updating the event calendar and inviting people to things, we need local help. And we decided to have maybe 2, 3, 4 ambassadors in each region, in each country. So there's a small team of members who have all taken the decision to help out a little bit. And if they are 3, 4 people helping out in an area, there's no problem helping us with what we need to do when it comes to events.
Yeah.
And apart from that, we hope that the ambassadors maybe are a little bit more active than a normal member to invite people they know to the club as members as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have 2 other types of members as well, really. We have club sponsors and club experts. Can you just explain briefly what both of they do and what is their role within the club? Maybe starting with the sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, on our membership platform, we have started a function called Ask Our Experts. And this is invited specialists from the club members who have a specialist area that they have said yes to. People can send them questions within their expertise area. Everything from, Alvaro here, who is one of our guests today on the TV show, is our expert when it comes to being a more professional racing driver. We have Marcus Gedlich, who is one of the Europe's most experienced track day organizers, and so on. We have a master mechanic from Mallorca, actually, and so on. So being an expert is actually, again, a member who decided to help out a little bit for the better good of the other members. So through the web page, you can choose one of the experts and ask a question in the form. So that's what the experts are. Yeah. And sponsors are owners of companies who have something to offer to the members when it comes to services or products. Can be a sports car garage owner who would like to be able to invite the members to the garage and find some more clients. Can be a track day organizer or somebody delivering something that is suitable for us from the club to offer to the members their services and products. And all the sponsors are paying a little bit more than a normal member to help the club economy. And as a thank you for that, we have sponsor advertisement for them. They can be on our events and make event marketing to the members at the events. And we can organize some email shootouts to the members from the sponsors as well during the year. Yeah. And all the sponsors are giving some kind of discount on their products and services as well to the members, which is connected to our digital membership card.
Yeah. So, well, that's really good, Peter. Thank you very much for all of that. Just for your information, that took you about 9 minutes instead of the program 3, and I reckon I could have easily got you to go on for about another 3 minutes. But anyway,
I'm just trying to answer your questions, Jonathan.
Well, you know, I don't want to ask you the rest of the questions because we'd have a seminar we'd have one just for you. So
you have to get one of these cling clocks, you know, saying bling, 10 seconds, and then you're going to cut me off.
Yeah, I can cut you off easily. Anyway, so that's absolutely super. Thanks very much, Peter. And I'd like to introduce you to our guest, our special guest today. That's going to be Alvaro Fontes. What I can tell you about Alvaro is that he is a racing driver. He's also the 2-time Spanish champion in GT in a Porsche GT3R and TC3 in the Syrett Leon Cup racer. LMP3 driver in Le Mans Cup, no less, with over 300 races in his career. He's also the Ascari Race Resort ambassador. And in his spare time, he is one of our experts, as Peter mentioned earlier on. So, Alvaro, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for coming. How and when did you first become interested in cars?
Okay, interested really when I was a child. No, I'm a very big fan of motorsports and cars and everything. But unfortunately, I didn't have a close link with racing when I was a child. You know, I never had a relative or something involved in racing, and that's why I did a lot of different kind of sports. I love sports, but in my mind, I'm always thinking about, okay, I love to drive, I love cars and everything. And when I was maybe 33, 34 years, remember I bought a Porsche, a second-hand Porsche. And this was the reason because in my neighborhood, became a new neighbor arrived in our neighborhood, and he told me one day, okay, I saw you with a Porsche. Do you like cars and everything? I start talking, and he told me, okay, I have a racing team with the little Hyundai Accents, doing the Hyundai Accents Cup in Spain, because I'm the dealer of Hyundai in Malaga. And okay, if you want, someday come with us and test your car in the circuit. And for me was, okay, why not? I remember I went to Wadix track and did some laps there and had very, very great fun. And that's my first time actually in a racetrack. And later my friend told me, okay, Alvaro, your Porsche, it's a really nice car, and maybe you have a little accident or going out of the track or whatever. It's better for you to buy a little Hyundai Accent, second-hand one. And remember, was 3,000 euros or something like that. And I said, okay, let's go. And start competing in the Andalusian Regional Championship in 2003, I remember. And very fast, and the next year he proposed me to go to the Spanish Championship in a Hyundai Coupe racing championship. And then was my first big championship. And from that time, I did now 300 races. I was in the Hyundai Cup 3 years, then I moved to the Syrett Leon Cup, later to GT Cup, later to prototypes in Spain, and also going out to Europe to compete. And for me, I always think that was like a present of life. No, life gives me that kind of present, and I try to enjoy it because I think it's like a gift, you know, and that's why I try to have fun, to put all like that have inside to enjoy and to develop my driving. And I started like a gentleman, but now more or less I'm half of my time it's racing and half working, and it's like a kind of professional driver, but not in only focused on the professional side. But I'm so happy because I have a lot of luck to realize my dream, you know, and it's amazing, and I enjoy it very, very much.
Right, absolutely. So, which has been your favorite driving experience? What do you enjoy the most when you're driving, or what have you enjoyed the most?
It's difficult to say because it's a combination of the car and the track. You know, there are tracks absolutely amazing because not only of the design of the track, it's also about the history of the track. You know, when you raced in Imola or in Spa-Francorchamps or in Monza or in Silverstone, it's completely amazing because you feel that a lot of your heroes were driving there, and it's special. No? In Spain, we are lucky. We have more or less near 15 racetracks, and most of them very, very good tracks like Jerez, Montmeló, of course, Valencia, Jarama, Ascari, of course. And but you have to combine with the car, because if you are in a very, very extreme car, like a LMP3 car, it's amazing. For example, Portimao track, it's really amazing in that car because it's so fast, so tricky. You have to push very, very, very hard, because there are a lot of fast corners with a lot of risks, and you feel great there. Ascari also is a beautiful, beautiful track, because has a lot of different type of corners. It's so technical, very fast, tricky, and I think I try to push to the limit in every single car I drove. If the car is a little bit slow, as normal street car, you always find the limit and the and to have fun into the track, no?
Yeah.
But it's sorry. Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. It depends on the track and the car.
You mentioned all these various different legendary tracks, but you also mentioned Ascari, and you are a race resort ambassador for Ascari. So what does that entail? What do you do?
Okay, for me, because I live in Malaga, more or less close to Ascari track, 1 hour drive. And when they start his project, I think the owner of Ascari, Class Suart, it's a very, not only clever man, he's a passionate man. And he feels passionate about cars and Formula One. And I feel very comfortable there, because it's not a racetrack. It's like a club for friends. People there is only thinking about cars, no other interest, it's only to have fun, to be together, to talk about cars and Formula One or racing or whatever. And from the very first time, I was involved with them, because for me it's so nice to cooperate with them, to bring them customers, to do coaching there. I enjoyed also for training. It's very good for me, because I can train during the winter time. And I think it's a combination of things that results in, okay, Alvaro, why not you represent us, our brand, because you race in Spain, race in Europe, and I'm lucky and I have good links with a lot of people because of my profession also. And I think that's why they trust in my image like a racing driver, and because in the very beginning, the image of Ascari was not so good, in terms that people thought that Ascari was like the other Marbella places with luxury and people doing things that the owner don't feel very proper, that kind of places in Marbella are to show off and I think the idea of Ascari is completely different. It's not to show off nothing. It's only to enjoy and to live our passion about cars,
Thanks.
And that's why I think I become ambassador.
Thank you very much. So which has been your favorite ever car?
Oof.
That could be two cars, actually. A on-track car and an off-track car.
I don't know. It's so difficult, actually, because I'm lucky to drive a lot of different cars, not only in the street but also racing cars, and it's not so easy. I'm a close fan of Ferrari and Porsche. All the extreme cars are amazing, and actually I feel now I'm older. I'm 48 now. And I think I'm start thinking about the cars of my era, because, okay, maybe a Ferrari 288 is for me the car that of my dreams, But it's an old car, a classic car, no? But the new ones I think are easier to drive, faster, of course, but easier to drive. I think we are losing a little bit the feeling of have the control of the car. The car is so good and doing things itself, you know, with a lot of controls and electronics and whatever. And I think we are losing the feeling of driving, no? And that's, I don't like so much. But I don't know, it's difficult, but maybe the Ferrari 288 for me is the best.
So on track and off track, is that the car you would?
Off the track, the Ferrari, and on track, in my experience, the best car for me was the LMP3 car, because it's a prototype, and you discover with that kind of cars a new thing when you are in a track, is the downforce. Normally, people don't know which means downforce. You need to feel it. And when you are arriving in a corner and you see the speed, it's very, very high. And the first thing is, oh, it's impossible to turn at that speed. It's completely impossible. We went out. But the car turns. That at that moment, your brain be illuminate because of that, and think, oh, it's possible. It's a new thing. I have to learn it, and I have to be confident and to trust in this, to push harder. Because if you push hard, the car settle down better and go in the corner very good. And it's a new process in your mind, starting to learn that kind of forces to do it. So nice experience.
Fantastic. So I was going to ask you what your dream car would be, but actually you've basically told us the Ferrari 288 would be the car you would like to have and enjoy on a daily basis, and I'm sure many other people would agree with that. So can you recommend a driving film or series that you particularly like, that you think people might enjoy watching whilst we're in lockdown during the COVID-19?
Oof, yeah, during this time we have plenty of time to discover new films, because I always know the famous one, no, the Le Mans, but there are a lot of different films about, or documentaries about racing, very, very interesting now. I think the last one is Find Your Life. It's amazing. It's very good documentary.
Find Your Life?
In Netflix, there is a Formula One 2018 and 19 season. It's very, very good, because they focus not on the racing side, of course, but they focus on the drivers, you know, and his problems, their problems, the tension, the stress life that they have. It's beautiful. Also, the ancient movies of Paul Newman. There is a documentary also, the racing life of Paul Newman. It's completely amazing, because he was a very, very good driver. People say that he's a better driver than actor, actually. And yeah, but he's very passionate about cars. And there is a lot. Also, there is one about Bruce McLaren, also, I think in HBO. And there is plenty of good films about racing. But I recognize that maybe the ancient films about racing are more about heroes, you know, the drivers at that era was really heroes. And I think we are missing that nowadays. We focus on the technology side, and we lose the personal side of racing. That I think this is the most important thing.
You've been racing in Le Mans. I don't know how often, but that implies that you had to have in the team a gentleman driver. So how did you find the experience of knowing that, you know, you had, is it 3 drivers in total or 4 drivers, but one of those 3 or 4 has got to be an amateur? So and how does that gentleman driver fit in with the rest of the team? And I mean, I saw the movie. I wasn't
the movie is also
what it is.
But it's tricky. It's not so easy. It's not, because we have the idea nowadays that with plenty of money you can do everything you want, and it's not that easy, you know, because maybe the money opens the door, but when the door is open, people gonna press you a lot, and you have to have you need to have certain level of driving, because you will be involved with the best drivers in the world, with extremely fast cars. The LMP1 cars are more or less as fast as the Formula One. And it's not easy to fit in. Okay, maybe you have your teammates are professionals, the team are very professional, and they put a lot of stress on you. And normally the gentleman drivers fail. It's very difficult to see a gentleman driver doing things properly. They need a lot of years to do it. Like Patrick Dempsey. Patrick Dempsey finally gets the point, and he's so passionate also, with a lot of effort and work. He now can say, okay, I'm a real racing driver, you know. Yeah. But it's not so easy, because the track is very, very fast. It's sure that if you are in the Porsche corners, there are 4 or 5 tricky corners, very, very extremely fast corners, and you feel the fear there. If you are in your car and one P1 or P2 overtake you, you feel like, okay, I'm gonna die in some moment. No, but this I think this emotion and this passion in Le Mans it's completely different than any other place in the world, because there are 300,000 people there, and when you are on track, you feel like you are a part of it. I always saw Le Mans in movies or on television or whatever, and that day when you are inside the car, you feel, wow, this is completely amazing, incredible, and I will have in my mind forever.
Yeah, so that's super, Alvaro. What about a website? I mean, obviously the best website in the world now is gentlemandriving.com. But apart from that, do you frequent any other websites? I mean, driving websites, that is.
Okay, I'm focused on racing usually, and maybe we are now not have plenty of time to have this kind of approximation to the racing in clubs or whatever, because always are focused on the next race, the next championship, looking for other profiles of other drivers. What way are they doing, or the teams, or in contact with? Now is the time in the beginning of the season. We are all the time seeing things, talking with people to try to find your gap or your space in a team or in a project. And we have no a lot of time to relax and stay with friends. Like, that's why I love your project and our idea, because for me it's a kind of relaxed activity out of racing, but linked with cars that I love, and with people, and share time with people, talking about your experiences and testing cars or whatever. But racing at some point, it's a little bit stressful, you know, because it's only about have the budget to do it, to drive as fast as you can, but knowing that if you have an accident or whatever, you lose your season or your economy or whatever. And maybe I always think that for me, now I'm 48, but I'm still fit and have the illusion to compete. But at some point, maybe I would prefer to move to that kind of events, relaxed events, and be with friends and get out of the competition. Not now, but okay. Let's see.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we are. We're in our 5th week of COVID-19 lockdown in Spain. So, you know, although it all looks fantastic, look at Peo up there. He's got his Porsche, and I think he's looking over the sea. I can see some masts, and Alvaro is on some racetrack somewhere. I assume that's Ascari. With a really super trendy car. Is that the car you drive normally, or is it just one of them, or is it a?
Is okay. I have 2 projects for this year. I expect to do it. And this is one of our projects, is we bring a Ferrari 458 GT3 car to Spain to start doing testing in Ascari track, and then start with my teammate to driving in endurance races in Spain and later out of Spain. And also I have the other project to do the TCR Spanish Championship with an Audi RS3 TCR car. It's a very good car also, but front wheel drive. But I know these kind of cars very well because I won the championship in 2015, and I usually drive those cars. And okay, but let's see, because everything it's on air now. It's anybody happens what will be, and because the championships are thinking about, okay, let's do some races this year, or maybe stop and wait for the next. I don't know.
Super. So what are you going to do? What are you most looking forward to do when you're able to get out of lockdown into your car? What is it going to be?
For me, in my mind, I want to do maybe in a day 150 laps, only to get out of the stress, the adrenaline, I need to get out all the adrenaline. But unfortunately, racing drivers, we are focused only on the the precise time to do it, the task, When I start racing, I remember those kind of test days that you bring into the car and do 100 laps. Okay. But now I think for me it's not the same, because I always go with my team, and there is a customer, and okay, Alvaro, do 2 laps to have to set a time and the lines of the telemetry or whatever, and then the customer start driving, learning, and blah 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 blah. For me, it's only a couple of laps, but and this also press yourself, because you have to be 100% fast in the second lap, But okay, we adapt ourselves to go from 0 to 100 in 1 second.
Amazing. That's incredible. Alvaro, thank you very much indeed today for being on our show.
It's a pleasure.
I don't know if there's any things that you'd like to add just to the end of your little interview there. Before we move on to Peo, who might not be aware that he's going to be our photography expert this afternoon.
Okay, only want to add that I'm so grateful. I feel grateful to be involved with you. And for me, I think I will enjoy very much to share with us also my experience, not only like a driver, the people I know, the events I was involved. And for me, it's so nice to share with people that have the same passion like I have. And I think we will have good times and enjoy a lot our meetings.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure you're right. And thank you very much, Alvaro. That was really good. Maybe we'll have time for some questions and answers later on. But in the meantime, I'd like to introduce Captain Peo Stenberg, who has kindly volunteered. I don't know if you read my chat message or not, to be an expert, and he's an expert in photography. Well, actually, that's a new area that he's an expert in. It was probably a hobby for most of his life, because I know Peo as a captain of very large yachts for a number of years. So, Peo, thank you very much for joining us, and I would like you to tell us a few of the things that you enjoy doing, that you can combine your passion for driving and your photography within what was Driving Mallorca and is now Gentleman Driving.
Well, my career with photography started a long time before I went to sea. When I was about 50 years old, I always traveled with my father to different racetracks in Sweden. He was very interested in motoring and motorsport, and he was a speedway and ice racing on motorcycles driver himself. And he had a freelance job as a journalist for a publication called Racing in Sweden. And I went with him, and somebody had to do the pictures. He didn't have time. He was doing the interviews and observations on the track. So he gave me the camera and sent me out. And I was 15, and I was very proud over that, of course, to mix with the big photographers laying around in the corners and try to get these shots, the hot shots of the cars. Later on, I went to sea, and then the opportunity to take pictures of cars was very small. There's not many cars out there. But I had an interest with photography with me when all the years we spent in the Caribbean and in Turkey and so on. And when I come to Mallorca, and Jonathan introduced me to the Driving Mallorca Club, and I was asked by Russell to do some pictures from the shows, and he was writing a bit in the Mallorca Daily Bulletin. So I took up the car photography again. And it's still developing. When I started, I was feeling very amateuristic, 14 with the cars, but I'm improving. It's like driving a car. You have to practice. And my pictures today is far better than it was at 14. I do try to fetch the character of the car, the character of the event where the car is. Maybe even as a documentary, not a piece of art. But to get the atmosphere in the event, the people around it. And I want to create images that people enjoy to look at. Of course, I want to make a nice picture. Not necessarily working too hard to do an arty picture. I want to make another impact with a picture. And something that people like, I like to put it up and people click like. That's my satisfaction of the picture. And of course, I like driving cars a lot. Many times I'm sacrificing driving the car for doing the pictures of the event, which I'm happy with that. That's good. But it's not too bad to do photography traveling around in a Porsche as a photo car. It's a certain satisfaction as well.
Yeah. So you're taking responsibility for the photography section of the website. What sort of camera do you use? Because I've never seen you taking pictures with your smartphone or iPhone before. It's always a real camera.
Yeah, I use the telephone very little. My telephone is not so the latest model, so the pictures are so and so. But it's good for experiment. You can make a shot and you look at it on your iPhone and say, well, this can be a good shot. You can get back to the object again and use a real camera. I'm what they call a Nikon man. That means that you're using Nikon, of course, which is very good instruments, good cameras, and they got very good selection of lenses. And that's what you use. When the camera is only a byproduct of the end result. There is other very good cameras as well, of course. Yeah. But it feels better to use a very good camera. For it's easier to go there, get the result that you want to get out of it.
Yeah. But what about video, Peo? GoPros, things like that. Are you using that type of thing so we can film some of our events? Yeah, I'm on the way to go over a little bit of video, but I've been sticking to the still pictures it's still a challenge. I still don't know everything. And before the challenge runs out in your project, you have to stick to it so you can full follow it, do the whole way out.
I will come over to video for, I'm on the way to get the GoPro cameras, put on the cars, get different angles of the photography, and you can get more action in a video clip than you can do in a still picture many times.
Yeah.
And also, well, it is the new time. People like to see these moving pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I think the still pictures still have a place in many places, for it's not all the time. You look at the image and you can't follow a video clip for 5 minutes. It's not the same impact.
So
it's quite interesting actually to follow our Facebook group, which is growing now quite fast. And there are much more comments and likes on a good picture than on an interesting video still.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people who are posting pictures of their own cars, I mean, that's probably a result of that. And I think people are enjoying doing that. Certainly, you know, there's some spectacular cars that we've been seeing appearing on the Facebook pages. Let's hope that some of those people decide to join us on our wonderful webinars and our online racing and sign up, even if it's just to be a digital member for now. So Peo, where have you got the most satisfaction out of doing some of your photo shooting and driving?
I love to be out on the rallies, to be out on the different stages. Can be quite a lot of work or take a lot of time. I don't look at it as like work. When you have to make your way in on the stages, the roads are normally closed. Maybe you have to walk very far like on Mallorca, Guardia Civil, they're closing the road 2 hours before the event, and then they don't open it before 2 hours later. So you are stuck out in the bush somewhere for the whole day. So, well, you have to bring picnic with you.
Yeah.
That's why I like to get the shots from the roadside when the cars are moving. I like moving cars in the pictures.
Yeah.
And well, you go out and you have to find these right angles, which is normally not the safest place. Where you stand on the outside in the corners. You try to find a barrier to hide behind, or somebody go off the road or something. But that's where you're getting a real picture with some action in and movement.
You need a very big tree and a strong one. Just
yeah. Mallorca is pretty good. We've got a lot of stone walls here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
The cars don't want to hit. No.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing when we are on these rallies. You know, some of the people. I mean, certainly the last rally that Peter and I did, the Sol Ponent, I was amazed by the amount of people that were spectating on the roads. I mean, most of them were, you know, pretty safely perched. But actually, you know, you just, well, you don't really look at them. You can't, you don't have time for that, but you do notice that there are bunches of people.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to come off the road and drive into a whole bunch of them.
No, but you don't, and also you don't want to place yourselves so you're annoying the drivers of the cars. But if they see somebody unprotected on the side of the road, it kind of slows them down. You know, they don't really want to hit you most of the time. So, so you have to consider that as well. And when you do shots in the night and the night rally, don't have your flash out and shoot in the face of them, for they might go off the road. And you know, so.
Yeah, my first experience ever doing a rally was in a Cobra. It wasn't Stefan's Cobra. It was another Swedish owner's Cobra, actually. And I'd never done a rally before. It was the Clásico Mallorca, and we were starting at night. So, you know, the first bit of the rally, I had driven this car literally half a kilometer before driving it in anger in this regularity rally. And at the last moment, the owner of the car decided that maybe I should drive the car, and he would keep the notes and the pace and the speed and everything, because that would be more complicated for me to do, not knowing anything about either. So I just thought that was an amazing opportunity. I was very happy to jump in the driving seat no matter what. And I have to say that we started in one of these totally black nights, and of course you just start off and you head off into the darkness. We didn't have really good headlights, and coming around the first bend on the first corner, the flashlights went off. Clack, 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 clack. I was blinded. I was terrified. I couldn't believe, I hadn't expected it. I had no idea that was going to happen. And I certainly took my foot off the pedal, but carried on. And yeah, I mean, that was just something we had to deal with. And I'm sure, you know, Alvaro and the real racing people have come up with that a long time, many times, but the first time was quite something for me. Peo, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? This is meant to be a question and answer time for Peo and our expert.
I want to ask Alvaro about this, the night driving, and the difference in the day and the night. Driving a car on a track in the night must be different from the day driving.
It's different, but for me, there is drivers that doesn't want to or doesn't feel comfortable during the night. But for me, I don't know why, but I enjoy it a lot and focus on the track. And I did the 24 Hours of Barcelona also. We won in 2012-11 with Jorge Lorenzo, the Spanish world champion of MotoGP. Mm-hmm. And we drive together. We were 4 guys. And during the night, I was extremely confident because you enter in a kind of loop, you know, you are focused and you feel like everything is happening and you are only flowing in the track and you forget everything. And it's so different, but so funny to drive in the dark. Also in Portimao, we did a 32 hours race in Portimao. It was unbelievable. So tough because 29 hours was in the rain. And I remember I was sharing my car with Mikel Azcona. Now is the guy that is in the WTCR, is the best rookie this year. And he started the race and it was raining hard. And because of Portimao, it's so have a lot of downhills, uphills. I don't know why. In 20 minutes, he comes back to the pit. And I was there and some people tell me, okay, put the helmet. He stopped the car. I saw him pale, so pale. He threw up 2 times inside the car. And they removed him from the car. I see all that. Okay, okay, let's see. Let's go. I put into the car. I drove 2 hours in the rain, in the dark, so dark. But when you get into your, you are full of concentration, and that's it. Our histories, a lot of histories.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I've often wondered about the night racing and the daytime racing in Le Mans. Did they start the races ever at night, or do they always start during the day?
It starts in the day, I think at 2 o'clock or something like that.
So every driver has had an opportunity to do a lot of laps. Is it 2 hours each or something like that?
Yes, you more or less want to do a complete deposit, you know, of fuel, and also maybe the pro drivers do double stints. They stop, refuel, and go out. But the gentleman drivers usually didn't want to do the night, you know, because it's more dangerous. The big accidents usually happens at night because you feel more tired. You know, the vision start to, at that speed, it's tricky.
What is the minimum time the gentleman drivers have to do? I think it was clear in the film. I mean, they've got to do a certain percentage, haven't they?
Yes. I think minimum 6-7 hours or something like that in stints. That I don't know the regulations exactly, but it's possible to drive maybe a couple of stints or whatever, or 3 stints. But usually the pro drivers did more stints than the gentlemen's.
How much fuel fits in one of those cars?
It's 100 liters, I think. 90
Okay.
or 100.
Yeah. Any other questions from any of our distinguished members, panelists, guests, president?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. And I think that this is fantastic what you have started, Jonathan. And I really hope that this is going to be popular among our members to watch these kind of things, because, I mean, I've been knowing both you and Peo and Alvaro now for some time. And still, when we sit here and talk about a little bit more in depth about our lives and our experiences, there's always new things coming up that I never heard before. It's been a pleasure to be a guest on this show.
Yeah, I think that's really, really interesting. And I was going to just hand over to you, Peter, if you want to just tell us what the upcoming activities are going to be. What do you think they're going to be? What plans you've got for the future? And if you can guess what day we'll be able to go for our first drive.
Well, I mean, we are in a very special situation, which I dearly hope that during my lifetime we don't have to see again. This is tough for all of us, and I've been speaking the last weeks with a lot of people around in the car community, like Alvaro, who is having the car and racing and the car people as a business. And of course, many of them are in very nervous now what is going to happen. So there's a lot of talk around that. But what we are doing is to try to think positive and stay positive and move forward, and maybe see that this club is a little bit more than just a nice social club for people who love cars and driving cars. Maybe we can be an important network as well. And that's why we've been putting a lot of time the last 2 months in building our new webpage platform where people can sign up as a member. We have launched during this COVID period 30-day free trial membership, so people can sign up without paying, and after 30 days they have to choose their membership and pay to continue, to invite more people a bit faster and easier to the club maybe, and maybe also still, even though of course a club like Gentlemen Driving is all about our events, and now we don't have any events for a long time, and it will take some time more before we have any. So we've been enhancing the value of the online platform of the club, so you can actually feel and see that there's more to this club than the events. There's actually the networking part, and inside our platform of the membership area we have now, where you can log in when you are a member, registered member. Then you can find all the other members. You can easily contact other people and do some serious online networking. The other part, what we've been doing now, is that we brought in the international spectrum of car lovers and car freaks in the world. And this is fast becoming something also exciting about the club, that you can actually go into the platform and you can start chatting with somebody in Italy or in France or even in America. Where we are going with the club is that we are building up more club ambassadors, more members during this lockdown because of the coronavirus. And we from either the end of this week or beginning of next week, we're going to start together with all the club ambassadors to plan when can activities start in your country. Some countries will start sooner than others to go back to some kind of normality. The UK is far behind us in Spain, for instance. So it's going to be a bit different. But I've been speaking to the owner of Portimao in Portugal. I've been speaking to managers in Ascari outside Marbella. I've been speaking to people in Austria and in Italy. And as I understand it, the last week of May, the racetracks will at least be open again in Spain. And that seems quite confident when the information I have, at least. The 9th of May in Spain, probably the official lockdown period will be over. Of course, what is going to happen after that, we don't know. It's going to be a very slow and gradual ease off of the quarantine measures. So, but if we look in Austria, Monday last week in Austria, they opened the shops again, so you can go shopping. Small shops from less than 400 square meters could open. So suddenly, of course, you can drive and do your normal things that you did before. Maybe you are not allowed to go pleasure driving. Maybe you have to show a receipt of the shop you went shopping in or whatever. But so, I mean, Austria closed down the same days as Italy did, which was, I think, 2 weeks before us in Spain. Is that correct, Jonathan? So they are a bit before us, but there are track day organizers who are hoping to go through with their track days in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany already from the middle of May. So it's going to be a bit different for different countries. So it's difficult to say this is when everything is back to when we can go out and enjoy our car driving again. But I look forward to the end of May. I think a lot of things will have been eased off by then, and I have to admit, I already bought a flight ticket the 10th of May to Malaga, just to see if it's possible or not. Let's see if it's going to be possible or not. I'm having my Cayman upgraded now with new brakes and a new suspension and a new wing and a front splitter. So I'm hoping to cut 5-6 seconds off Ascari the next time I'm there. Let's see if I can do it.
Excellent. Peter, thank you very much indeed. Alvaro, thank you for being a wonderful guest, and Peo, thank you very much for explaining us a little bit more about your photography expertise and combining that with driving your wonderful Porsche. So we're going to close the meeting now, and then we will decide whether we're going to make these webinars or sessions, chat sessions, interviews, or whatever we decide to call them, once a week or on a bi-weekly basis. That is once every 2 weeks.
I can give you a little hint about that if you want to, Jonathan. Because now we are in the pace that we are signing up 5, 6, maybe 7 new members every day in this club. So there will be plenty interesting people to interview on a weekly basis if you like to do this on a weekly basis. I just wanted you to know that.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is no doubt that any of us are interesting people to interview in different capacities. The idea is that we have you, Peter, on just to, hopefully you'll stop moving though, because you're making us all feel seasick. Because
he's in a simulator.
Right? You're either masturbating or you're
in a simulator.
And you're obviously enjoying this too much. But
we are 2 people working at home in the same time, and we haven't moved to our new house yet. So I'm sitting away from Nikki, where she's sitting having video meetings with her work. So I'm sitting here with my phone and I'm holding it in my hand, and my arms gets tired the whole time. So I'm just kind of moving around.
Yeah, but you when you see the recording, which hopefully we will have, you'll realize how annoying it is to have like a little fly fluttering around on the screen.
Well, I try to amuse and annoy.
So yeah. Jonathan,
yeah,
are we going to invite more people to the webinars?
The idea is that we will invite all the members, anybody who is a member, whether it's a digital member or 30-day member. I mean, obviously, it's another way that we can try and encourage people to join, and it's something a little bit different. And I think it'll give a little bit of interest. It'll give something people to do when they're during this slowdown period. Yeah. And I'm sure we can get some really interesting car stories, by people that wouldn't normally maybe have a platform, or because if we're all doing this, it's for a reason. We all have reasons to want to be part of this club, and people like talking about what they do and how they do it. So, let's try and refine it a little bit. And I'm happy for the time being, at least, to do it on a weekly basis. And let's see where it goes.
Actually, the idea that Jonathan and I discussed around this is that I will make a page on the web page, which is only able to see for the logged in members. And that's where you find the link and how to get into this. And this is a page that we will invite the whole world of car enthusiasts. But if they want to participate, they have to sign up at least for the 30-day trial period to be able to come into this page where the information and link is. So that's a little bit also how we are maybe planning that these kind of gentleman driving TV, as I call it, sessions can actually attract a little bit more members to the club. So.
Well, you already have a source. We have more than 1,000 people on the Facebook.
Yeah. Actually, if we combine all our social media channels, we can reach 2,000 people. And if I put a little advertisement boost on that invitation, we can reach all their friends as well. So, yeah.
Well, I grooming the Porsche Club in Sweden. I just start to groom them a little bit with putting in some pictures on their website, and they got over 9,000 members in Sweden. So, so there is places to promote, webinar.
I will give everybody in the club the link to this page where we will publish these webinars, and also where we will publish the recordings from past sessions, and hopefully everybody can help to spread it as much as possible.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everybody. That's just over 1 hour, and I think that's pretty much what our objective was. And the fact that we have only been the 4 of us, but we've managed to find a president and a guest and an expert for next week. Obviously, we need to find some additional people and try to go from there and see how it goes. I think it's gone quite well.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed it? If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up when you leave.
I would say congratulations, Jonathan. Very good idea.
Very good.
Good. Great. Okay then.
Good evening.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. See
See
you
you
hopefully next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.